Hey guys, what's up? Taryn here. I'm going to show you a quick video today. I want to walk you through Vanessa's story. She is a PDBMer who has had some amazing success over the last 12 months. And her story is really unique, but also not unique because there's many of you in this group right now that I know are running parallel stories to her. And I thought it would be really interesting just to share her progress, but like show you the very specific things that she had done along the way. There's three or four of them that I want to run by you and just show you. So some quick background just for context. I know I've been talking about her, but let's just jam on it. Vanessa owns a dance studio in Kansas. And when I first met her, she was running also a full-time job as a daycare assistant. And, you know, this parallel storyline that you can only allot so much time, energy, and attention and focus 50% each way when you're doing two very main things like that. And that was exactly what she was doing. 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. trying to do work on her business. 9 to 5 p.m. she's working in her full-time job. And then 5 to 9 p.m. she's working in the business, running classes and working with all the kids. You and I both know that you can only burn that candle at both ends for so long. Like that is exhausting. I've been there. I know many of you have been there. So that was ultimately what brought her to me. The sort of like cherry on top of this entire story was that she had young kids of her own at home. And so she was sacrificing a lot of the time that she could be spending with them to be running this rat race from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. plus at night. And so she desperately wanted to change that. The main goal was cut the full-time job out, be able to grow the business and step away from the business so that she could be at home with her family, take vacations, like just do normal human being things. So the relevance of that story, I think, applies to many of us in this group. You know, I ran a similar story. I know there's many of you. So I just want to show you sort of the main like highlights that happened in Vanessa's story. And maybe there's something that you can take away from this. If your story kind of runs parallel to hers and this is something that you're interested in changing, just in the comments, drop Clubhouse and I'll show you the roadmap that you need to get to 30K months and only work 3 to 4 days a week, running similar things to Vanessa just based on your business. So let's go. Today, I'm going to show you the results that she got, which obviously are important, but I also want to show you the how, because I think the how is more important. All right. There are 4 main spots that happened along Vanessa's journey. And at each of those spots, there's very specific changes that she made that corresponded to the growth that then happened. And so it was very interesting when we were looking back on it. Okay. When she first came into the system, she was making $9,000 a month. Okay. This was her devoting 50% of her time, energy, attention, focus to her business while she was working her full-time job. I actually think that's pretty awesome. Like it's pretty good to get your business that far when it's sort of a hobby or a side gig. So, you know, I commend her for that, but that's not the rat race we want to run, right? So some of the other main spots that happened to her was this initial first jump. And that first jump took her from 9K to 20K. And this is really significant because in the beginning, she didn't make a lot of changes. And you don't want to. You want to make sure that you have a quick cash injection into the business, because when removing a full-time job out of the picture, it's, can my business make enough money to supplement the income that the full-time job was providing me? And is there predictability that the business will always be able to do that? So that was sort of our main focus right off the start, was quick cash. Okay. We did 2 main things. We went to her current clients and we changed up her offer. Now, what I mean by that is the easiest way to increase the revenue in your business right off the hop is how can you help your current clients better? Okay. So she had all these kids in a la carte programs. Aside from changing the offer and the way her offers were structured, we just went to the kids and made different ways that we could help them get better results, how she could make them become better at whatever type of dance they were enrolled in. So this looked like additional revenue streams. So it was, hey, this other type of dance is actually supplementary to the type of dance you're in right now. So if you did the other one too, you would get equally better at both of them. We also are running these stretch clinics and pop-up workshops and things like that, where these kids had extra opportunities to participate in other things that would make them better at the main thing. Okay. This was an astronomical spike. And this is really easy because your current clients are already bought into you, your brand, everything that you do. So you don't have to work hard to acquire new clients and take them through your system. It's just, how can you help your current clients better? And then do that. Okay. And then secondary to that, the storyline we were running parallel at the same time was the offer needed to change, because a la carte is just not a way to build a predictable and stable membership series type of business like a dance studio runs. And so restructuring how the programs were offered, how kids came into the business, how they got enrolled had to be completely changed. And just changing the structure of the offer alone probably allotted to about 60% of the jump in the revenue that she saw right off the start. So those were some of the big changes right off the start. The next big change came from 20 to 30K. And I love this spot because this is a sweet spot. This is a hard spot for most small business owners, because the things that got you to 10K, the things that got you to 20K are not the things that are going to get you to 30K. Okay. And so from here, our focus was grow. Like, now that some of the systems, the fundamental things that you need have been built into your business, we need to put your foot on the gas pedal and go. So grow was the focus here. And the big system that we focused on was marketing. Specifically, she used our conversation starter system, which ultimately is all about how do we get more leads into your ecosystem every single day? How do we have conversations with these people that is then going to turn them into being interested prospects? And how do we turn those interested prospects into buyers? So this whole cyclical cycle of how somebody enters and exits our business was huge for her, because now she had an easier way to communicate with leads. Some of it was automated, which made it even easier and effortless, but it also provided an opportunity for her to build a system that could initially replace her down the road to always be growing the business, because people will leads will always be coming into the business. Huge, when her goal was to eventually step away from the business. Okay. So from there, that brought us to her most recent growth, which was her 44K. And like I said, the things that got you to 30K are not the things that are going to get you to 40K. And now the focus became about her time. The business was rolling, cash was coming in, she was paying herself, supplementing the income she was getting from the full-time job. So now it was, how can we capitalize that and be more efficient with your time and start checking the boxes on the time goals that she had. And so from here, it has to be about the rockstar team. Okay. And so for her, it was learning the staff feedback loop in how do we build roles? How do we take tasks off her plate and build those roles? How do we go out and find people for those roles? How do we train them, onboard them, hold them accountable and responsible to perform those duties? And how do we lead them, right? Because hiring them and training them and letting them go off into the wild is not the end of that cycle. We have to continue to develop them and lead them, especially when your goal is to step away from the business. And so this was massive for her, because now her team was enabled and they were running the show and they were doing it very, very well. And so that was the contributing factor to the most recent spike in revenue, was the enablement of her team. Now, the one part I didn't talk about in all of this is what happened to her time. Okay. When she originally came in, she had that full-time job. Okay. When we hit the 20K mark, it was our goal to turn that full-time job into a part-time job. And at this point, she got her weekends back. Okay. When we went 20 to 30, the main thing was getting her evenings back. So now she was at home with her family. She didn't have the full-time job and she had her weekends back. So life was starting to feel pretty, quote unquote, normal for her. Okay. And then one of the really awesome details that I love that she implemented in this final big stretch here was no work after 2 p.m. I freaking love that. And that was really important to her because she wanted to pick her kids up after school and not have them ride the bus for, I think she said it was like a 90-minute bus ride home for her kids, which to me is just wild because I live in a small town. So her not working after 2 p.m. was so important so she could be there to pick up the kids. When you kind of go bird's eye view from this and you simplify it down, this is the roadmap that Vanessa needed for her dance studio to take it from $9,000 to $44,000. But more importantly, take herself out of that full-time job, have the confidence and see the predictability and the stability of her business that it could provide enough income for her and her family. And now eventually get her to the point where she's not working weekends, not working past 2 p.m. She's taking vacations. She's living a normal life and the business is not in control of her. I love this story. Vanessa is she's amazing to work with, just a bubble of energy and like honestly a dance studio, best thing that she could do for who she is and the type of person that she is. I just love it. To be a part of the story was just so much fun. If you feel like Vanessa's story sounds a lot like yours, just comment Clubhouse below and I'll send you all the details on like what that roadmap needs to perhaps look like for you to help you get out of that 8 to 10K range that you maybe feel a little bit stuck on, or how involved in your business or how in control the business is of you, and pull you out of that scenario, get you to 30K months, get you working only 3 to 4 days a week, and help you get a little bit closer to your perfect day. So Clubhouse in the comments and my team will send you a DM. Have a great day, guys.